I was going to start out with a home inspection dilemma. You guys want to help me with
Right.
it? All right, so you're doing a pre-listing inspection, and I live on a place where there's a lot of heat pumps. I'd say most of the buildings have heat pumps. We don't have natural gas. So, pick your poison, right? Electricity, propane, or oil for heating systems. So, I'd say like 70% of the buildings here have heat pumps, especially a standalone house. So you do a pre-listing inspection and the heat pump's dead. It's sitting there, but it doesn't work, right? Like you fired, and they said it was broken. So to me, you're doing a pre-listing, like a dead heat pump's kind of a big deal, right? You need a new heat pump. That's, lots of money. So kind of a no-brainer. But here's what the agent pointed out to me. She's like, well, what if you were doing a house that didn't have a heat pump that was just an electric heat, which those exist around here. That's not like totally abnormal, not common. Then my recommendation, my report would be more of like an energy efficiency item, suggesting that like a heat pump would be like a nice improvement. Isn't that interesting? I mean, it's like, I don't know, how do you list it? Like, it's kind of a big deal if the heat pump's broken. On the other hand, like if there never was a heat pump, that it would just be an improvement item, you know?
But they would not have a heat pump. It was just the electrical coil, though, because we do have those things. I'm in Florida, so most of our AC system a heat pump. Every now and then I run into, if it's a heat pump, they have a backup heat or heater electrical coil. If it's just the electrical coil, then just cooling and heat, no backup heat,
Yep.
right?
Yeah, and where you are, not having cooling might kill somebody, but around where
Yeah.
I am, that's not such a big deal. So you don't. The sayings down in Florida, where cooling is more of like a must-have
Yeah.
than a nice-to-have. And so anyway, I mean, there's no real answer to it, but I thought everyone would get a little kick out of it. It was kind of a good question. The agent wasn't really being, you know, super fussy about it, but she kind of pointed that out, and I was like, and I was thinking about it when I wrote it because I was like, I don't know, it's kind of a big deal if the heat pump's broken, but if there never were one, I think I would have listed it as more of like an improvement item kind of thing. So. I don't know. Funny.
What was the question, Dylan? Sorry.
Yeah, no problem. The question, or it was more just a comment. I was doing a pre-listing inspection, and the heat pump was dead. So I listed it as a major concern because the new heat pumps, I don't know, 10 or 20 grand, depending on what kind you get. Um, and the agent pointed out that if the building had never had a heat pump and was just electric heat, I would have probably listed adding a heat pump as kind of an improvement item or like an energy efficiency note. So in a way, the building has this big strike against it for the fact that it once had a heat pump and now it doesn't, as opposed to if it never had a heat pump and it was always electric heat, I might have just listed it as more of an improvement item. I think
Was it
it's a good like I sense of like the traps that we walk into in this business. It's like,
was it was it the only form of heat in the building? Heat and cooling?
well, yeah, but heat pumps have the electric air handler for backup. So this basically had electric heat. So it had heat. It didn't have cooling anymore. But the heat worked. It was just old
But I
stick heat.
agree with I agree with your side, Dylan. No, there's an existing component there that doesn't work that would cost a lot to fix. So
That
it's
that
kind of a
It,
that I told the
it
agent, I'm like, if you guys removed it and it weren't
yeah.
there, I would probably have a comment like, it looks like there used to be a heat pump here. It would be more of an improvement thing. But the fact that it's sitting there and dead to me makes it more of a major concern. Uh,
Totally agree.
yeah.
yeah, if it's not working, it's not working. I mean that right? That's
Yeah,
that's a
and the agent was cool about it. She wasn't like giving me huge pushback, but I thought it was a fun conversation to start with of these sort of, moral dilemmas that were thrust into the middle of constantly. And I was like, and I thought she had a good point. I was like, I think for me, if I don't, I wouldn't call it a major concern just because the house doesn't have a heat pump if it had electric heat, right? And it was always like that. So, but hard not to fuss about a dead heat pump sitting there. And certainly, if you're working for a buyer, it's a no-brainer, right? They're going to see like, oh, it looks like it's a heat pump, and then it turns out it's not working. Then that's a real no-brainer. But as a pre-listing, they're not on the market yet, and they could like go remove it and like cap everything off and like, and then I don't know, in a way it's not really such a major concern as long as it's super clear that it's not a heat pump, it's just electric heat. So interesting. Uh, cool. Welcome everybody. What a great group, man. We got like 30 people on here. This is awesome. Give me feedback. We can start trying to do more of these. And I've talked to Charles Buell and, other people at some point if they wanted to lead these could. I love hearing from all of you guys and like kicking around different ideas and stuff. So it's great to see the participation and feel free to like always email me if you guys have topics you want to do in these to cover, we can. If you want real quick, I could, I wanted to just talk about, somebody asked me, emailed, like, can you use Scribeware for new construction inspections? Which I thought was almost funny because it's like, yeah, of course. Like, and there's nothing like that radically different that I do, but I'll share my screen with you of just some things that I do for new construction. Got to get you guys back on here. All right. So this was a new build I did the other day that was sort of semi-custom building. And I have an incomplete modifier that I really like using for new construction. Probably most of you guys have heard me say this, but I think there's such a big difference between something that's a repair item that's like broken or not done right versus something that they didn't finish. So I kind of like doing that. And then I have a blue tape parent comment that you're welcome to steal if you like the idea, but I don't really personally want to get involved in the blue tape touch up around the building. Yet I will also take some pictures of the kind of blue tape touch up that happens. And you guys can let me know how you guys handle this. But I just have one comment that's like, hey, I recommend working with the builder to kind of come up with a plan to touch up paint and little cosmetic things. And then I've got my favorite examples of several observations noted during the inspection include. And so I take a few pictures of little like nicks and dings and little things that they might want to deal with. This place was pretty clean, so I didn't have that big a list. Sometimes I have a huge list. But even if I have a huge list, I usually kind of stop at around 5 or 10 things because I kind of feel like this isn't my world is like looking at paint stuff and I really don't want to get involved in it. So I try to kind of short circuit that as quickly as I can. Does anybody else have any new construction techniques they like to use? Yeah, I mean, I thought the question was interesting. I think it was a newer inspector, but I think most of us would agree, like, I don't know, a new construction's not wildly different than an existing building. I probably have a little language in the very beginning of the report that says that it's a new build. I'll go to the complete report. I think I have new construction comment. I do have, I always note if a house has been vacant, and it looks like I don't, I used to have a new construction thing. I didn't put it in here, but I have a comment somewhere in my template about, if getting plans and stuff and permit records and like all the records of the building when it's a new build is not a bad idea, particularly if it's in any way custom. Have you guys been finding? I've been finding that on the tract homes, the builders. Yeah, that's a new construction condo note. I thought I had a different new construction note, but have you guys been finding that the builders of the tract homes don't particularly want to like share the plans and stuff with people? I've been sort of running into that because I always tell people to get plans and stuff if you can. It's really valuable if you own the building. I don't know how much new construction everybody else does, but I don't do tons. But I'd say about like a tenth of my work, or maybe a little bit less, a fifth of my work is new construction, something like that.
No problems on getting plans here where I'm
Yep.
at.
They'll provide that, Mike.
Yeah.
Hmm. Obviously,
We
by
have an issue
code,
getting them in Georgia.
say that again.
We have an issue getting them in Georgia. They
Okay.
they hold on to them and they're not interested in sharing.
Yep. Interesting. Yeah.
Is that even on custom homes?
No, custom homes they'll share with us because they're usually working one on one with the builder.
Yeah.
But your Pulte's and things like that, they take them out of the permit box as well, so you can't even look and see them. You have to go and check in with the office.
And that's Matthew, that's what I've found here as well. Like the custom builders seem pretty amenable to it. And like that semi-custom one I showed, I bet they would have been fine with it. But it's the sort of Pulte like things. They're like whisk them away, and it's frustrating because sometimes you have questions where it's like you need to look at the plans and see if this was how they meant to do it. And if they're not, going to talk about them or be forthcoming with them, that can get kind of frustrating.
Then one thing that I would, all of this can be a problem, especially with new construction, but you can always use it as a selling point for getting back to do that 11-month warranty inspection because they can't avoid you then,
Yep.
and that's for me, that was always another inspection that I could put on the books a year out, and I charge the same amount. So
Yep.
it's
No, it's a good point. You guys, I would say that probably at least half of my new builds, like they call me 11 months later to go back in. So, good for business. And it's really much better time to actually look. They're so hard when they're brand new. I mean, they've never been lived in. Well, one phrase you guys are welcome to steal from me that I came up with, but the metric of how the building has performed has been taken away from me. You don't have that. It's gone. Like so you really you just that's a huge part of what we do, and you can't see a lot. So anyway, this is my comment that I obviously forgot to put in there, but newer building preserve construction records. It's just a note I'll often put on a new build. Cool. Well, I don't know if they're even on here who asked. Somebody shot me an email. I've been overwhelmed with correspondence recently, but I thought it was an interesting question. It's like, yeah, of course you can use Scribeware for new construction, and I don't know. You guys probably all agree. There's not wildly different things you do on a new build than an existing build, but a couple little things. Anybody else have any other little tweaks of things they do on a new build that are different?
I do a blue tape much like you do, and I have a little blurb in the very beginning about warranties, obtaining information about warranties.
That's probably smart, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, Donnie Hester shot me a message. It'd be interesting to do like a group meetup or podcast, maybe one of our Sunday morning things, Charlie, on the builder warranty, right? And what
yeah.
that really means. And because those are skating on thin ice with those things if you're kind of relying on them. So,
I'll tell you another thing we've been doing on new builds is upselling, if you want to, is we've found a lot of problems with the sewer lines. So we just tell everybody on new construction, you should do a sewer scope because of
Oh,
all the
yeah.
debris that gets done under it. The toilets have not been used and they've been driving all this heavy equipment across, and we sell a lot more sewer scopes.
And that's smart, Donnie. I think people really ought to do them. I was funny years ago. I was doing a new build, and the Surescope guy showed up, and I was kind of ribbing him a little bit, like, why are you here? And when they ran the gas pipe, they just cut it right through the sewer line. He's like, "Come on in here," and he showed me, and this camera stopped, and it hit the gas pipe, and I was like, "Wow, all right, that's a big find." And
Find a lot of problems with them.
yeah, interesting. What other stuff do you like find where they've settled and disconnected and stuff, or what?
We find the most common thing we find is debris that got, swept down the hole or flushed down the toilet, one or the other, and where they
Hmm.
run the bobcat to finish the grading, where
Yep.
they've got a sag in a pipe or broke a joint.
Okay. Yep. Interesting.
A lot of offset joints.
Yep.
I used to not stress it so much on new construction until I got hammered once on new construction in an old neighborhood where they just hooked up to the old 1910 sewer.
Yep.
And
That's
that,
actually a comment in my library of new
yeah,
building risk of old sewer line,
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. No, that's right.
Sewer lines can settle and they can get plugged with debris in the house and out of the house. But also, we around here, around Chicago, they require a clean out outside the house so that it can be accessed by a big vehicle with a big machine that can go all the way to the street. And sometimes those clean outs aren't set to the right height, and some towns require them to be 6 or 8 inches above grade, whereas other towns say that you cut them off at grade. So you need to know from town to town what their expectation is.
Yep. You guys see my comment here. You can see my screen, right? I haven't used this one in a while. This was back in my day when I used to work in Seattle a lot. For just what Charlie said, I knew I had it in my library, but I hadn't used it well for didn't have my all cap blue title. But basically new building on an old site, check the sewer line. So yeah, that's a good one. Cool. Well, I don't know how we don't have to spend. We even have RV inspectors on here and stuff, so we can talk more report writing. But if everybody likes it, I like the idea of kicking around a few home inspection topics sometimes in these meetups. Um, how are things going? Anybody have any scribe questions? Things that I could help show somebody that be interested in?
Hey Dylan,
Yeah.
this is Rick in Kansas City, Missouri area, and I'd like to figure out. I guess I'm a novice. I've been a customer now, client, Scribeware brother for a couple of years, but I haven't used the option of adding PDF files to the report because particularly, you know how you can build your inspection notice list out of the report. Well, a lot of the realtors here love that function, but it has to go on the state of Missouri realtor form. So I'm trying to get a copy of that so I can scan that, add it, and create a fillable PDF so they can copy all that stuff over like it would on the option that's given on my template.
Okay. Yeah. So you want to be able to attach a PDF of like stuff agents gave you or something.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when I attach that file, can that file be something that when I say fillable, so when they go, they well, show me what you're doing, and I'll make see if that answers my
Yeah.
question.
Let's go over PDFs a little bit. We'll go over a few different things. That's a great place to start. So this was a job I did. Let's just look at the finished report real quick. This guy sent me, this was a pre-listing inspection, and he sent me some different invoices and stuff from work that he had done. And so I just attached them so that I thought it was really nice. Like for a pre-listing inspection, I love the idea of having all the receipts and stuff of things that were there. I mean, to me, the report can become more and more this repository for information, right? And it could even be a living document. You could like go update it and add more stuff to it later if you wanted to. So the end client can click on those
Quick question.
PDFs. Yeah.
Quick question. Is there any way that the homeowner can add stuff to this, or does it have to be us?
You mean the homeowner would not be able to attach them
That's
themselves?
what I thought, but I wanted to make sure I wasn't
Yep.
off base.
Yeah. So what I said, I was on site doing a pre-listing and he was like, I've got all these receipts. And I was like, yeah, if you want, shoot me a PDF with them and I'll just drop them in the report just for, that way everybody's got them. And not a lot of agents take me up on this, but a couple will assemble all of them into like one PDF of like all the work. Around here, the agents are practically general contractors getting things ready for the market. And so sometimes they'll have done all kinds of things and they'll just make a PDF, one single PDF of like recent work completed. And I think it's really nice. Another way you could use attaching PDFs is for re-inspections. Donnie Bentley gave us last week. If you haven't seen it, you could, or last time we did a meetup, he had some really cool ideas around doing re-inspects. But if an agent gave you the request list builder, anytime I do a re-inspect now, I try to get the agents to give me a PDF of the request list builder. So I have a list to go off of, and you can just attach it here. So let me show you how you attach a PDF. So this is the report I was in. And we have this little PDF folder. It's right here on this whole list of all these little illustrations folders. And if you click on that, you can go up to the plus mark here. So like if somebody emailed it to you, what I would do is download it from the email. And then when you hit the plus mark, it'll open up this little box and you can go to your downloads and you can, find the PDF or whatever that they sent. And that'll put it in this little bullpen over here. I mean, this is that Hood Canal heating invoice that was probably in here. And then periodically they build up in here. And so you can go through and delete them out of here. You don't have to keep them forever. And then, I think what I did is I just built a chapter at the bottom of this particular report, receipts for recent work, and I just attached the PDFs in there. Pretty simple.
Yeah. Dylan, I do that already, like for when I'm doing my termite inspection reports and stuff, I'll just attach it exactly how you did that. I guess if you can go back to your, go back a couple of screens, I'll tell you when to stop.
Let's see.
Or go to where it says create request list, you know, that narrative up at the top where it says download PDF file, create request list. So I guess my question is how I'd like to get where it says, yeah, you click on that. I want to be able to have that state of Missouri like PDF form that I could upload and would be there when they hit create list. It would actually be that versus just what the report does itself is.
Yeah, that's actually a super cool idea. From our perspective, the hard thing about that is probably that every state would be different.
Correct.
You know, I mean, it could even be different forms within different states. Tim Trickle might be on here. I mean, I don't know if this is something that's even doable, but and if it were doable, it would be something you'd probably have to pay for, like because it would be like,
no, I totally get that. If I was
yeah,
to
but
get
it's
the
a super cool
file,
idea. I mean, it would. I love the idea that like you could load a state. I mean, for us, it's the R17 or the Form 17, I think is what the agents call that form. And it's an interesting idea if somehow they could basically fill in that form right from our request list builder.
correct. Yeah. Then when you're check marking stuff
Hey,
off the
Dylan?
report, it loads it into that form. That's,
shoot, Donnie.
Dylan?
What do you got, Donnie?
I think if you go to Adobe and buy the upgraded version, you want to create you a fillable form, then you can load that fillable form in. And I don't know, but I would assume that it would be fillable in Scribeware. But go to Adobe Acrobat if you got it, and they give you like a 30-day free trial, and you can create fillable forms. You have to have one of the programs that create a fillable form.
Correct. Yeah, absolutely. So I pay, I subscribe to Adobe Pro for a yearly basis. I think it's $130, and that's what I use for all my inspection agreements and everything. And because they offer e-signatures and all that stuff, and that way I can edit PDFs, create stuff, and do a lot. Especially when I'm doing a septic report, and I got to convert that into a PDF so it's small enough without all the formulas in an Excel file to be able to transmit properly. So I guess that's what I'm asking. If I could, Dylan, if I got this form and I'm like, hey, it's a fillable PDF now, send it to you or Tim or Charlie to upload it. And like for me, I don't mind paying that option and be a one-time fee to be able to because
let me talk.
I really think I would try to upload it and just see if it worked.
Okay.
Well, but the thing that's tricky is what we're doing from here, like to get here, this was all built into the HTML report. So when they hit create request list, it's opening up, essentially a backdoor to Scribeware.
Right.
So the trick is you would need the agent can't really be looking at the form, because you really need to look at Scribeware in order to figure out what you would want to do. So let's say that this rot repairs we wanted to put into a form, there would almost need to be like a button that like dumps it into the form, I think, because you really have to look at the report first. So it could be tricky. There might have to be, I don't know. It starts getting out of my pay grade a little bit. Yeah. Can we talk about wiring or something? Yeah.
So Dylan.
Yeah, Tim, what do you got, man?
So yeah, I could look into that. It's not something that I can currently do or that I've currently tried to do. I know that the PDF generation for the repair list is not the same as the PDF generation for other places, so I haven't been able to really do a lot of custom stuff around that, but I could definitely look into how to customize that. And so yeah, that would be off the top of my head. I don't see an easy way to do it, but it might be something that we can work with.
Yeah, so I guess me in particular, and thanks for chiming in with that, Tim. It's a form that says it's just got their state of Missouri verbiage on there, and then it says, and it's an addendum form. It says, hey, blah blah blah, this filler, this fluff paragraph at the top, and then it's basically like a to-do list. And so that's why I was thinking if we could incorporate, me could incorporate that. And so when they click, like say there's some wood rot around the door, they click that they want that repaired, then it pulls it into that to-do list, that punch list there.
It's a
Is what I
super
was
cool
thinking.
idea. I mean, I really love it. The agents would really go gaga for it, I think. But I'm guessing there would have to be something where it's like a button here that like dumps it into that form. But don't you think, Tim? Or maybe I'm off base.
Yeah, or just take because when you finish that and you hit print, it generates a PDF. And I feel like there must like the way to do it would be just to change, like to say don't generate the normal PDF, generate one that's cut, you know, within these
Yeah,
bounds.
like you go to the bottom and instead of create request list, it might be like create,
Yeah.
Missouri form or something,
Yeah.
and then it would dump it in there. Yeah, it could involve some tricky mapping, but and the hard part for us on the amount of work is it's quite possible that it's like completely different work for every different form, you know. But I don't know. It's a cool idea, and I don't know. We could totally look into it and kind of see how far we could get with it, or what it might cost to do something like that.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, good stuff. We also, just so everybody knows, we have done quite a bit of work around PDFs for all the guys in like Florida, Texas. We're working on that. The WMPA is a little tricky because technically we don't own that document, but we have built. Let me go into that form real quick. I just want you guys to be aware of this. I know not of you, a lot of you all use PDFs, but um, we have guys doing the 4 points and win mitts completely on mobile, which was a big sort of what we were trying to accomplish so that any PDF in theory you can do this. Steve went through and built by hand. I mean, we like built fields in Scribeware that correspond to, in this case, I think I'm in the win mitt form. And so how this works is you can just click on a box that drops the form in, and then we have all the fields that you would fill in for a PDF all built into Scribeware. Even cooler, if you wanted to, if this were in your template, you could edit section and start dragging these fields or these sections into your home inspection template. So the 4 point and win mitt type stuff could be like right in your home inspection template, which is something I've always thought ought to be able to happen. And I think, we currently support that. So if you want this form, I can load it for you. But this is so far we have 4 point and win mitt. I think we're next working on the Texas form. And then after that would be, let's see, I'm trying to let people in. The NPMA 33 we're working on. Technically, with the NPMA 33, you're really supposed to have your own account for that. Somebody, I don't know if I think it's Michael. We're getting some noise on here, but hopefully that's better. Um, and just so you see these, like a little, Tim, you could help me out a little bit here, but where is it? There's some stuff that is new.
Hey, Dylan, is that how you envision the NPMA 33 working? Similar to
Yeah,
this?
it would all be built just like this. We just have to like physically build it, Joe.
Cool.
And then once it's there, we can load it for you. But you can do it yourself. I think Steve has some directions on this. But notice how when I'm editing a section now and I hit the pen, there's this PDF form thing, and so there's an ability to now like map a field with a form. So in theory, everybody can do this for themselves, but it's obviously, it's sort of out of my pay grade. So your mileage may vary, but that's kind of how Steve has been building this, and we're hiring people to kind of build out a few more forms for everybody here. But it's pretty cool. I mean, our goal with all of these forms is that really, in theory, any PDF form could be built into Scribeware and you could then do it on mobile. Like that's our goal. And it could be that, keep in mind, this is different than the form we were talking about where it has to work in conjunction with the request list builder, because that's a different functionality really, because agents are not scribers. as much as they should be, they're not. Then so that presents these limitations. So this is for people that use Scribeware, but in theory, we can build any form in Scribeware now and make it mobile friendly. But we're doing it for some of the big things like 4-point and WinMit, but certain stuff you might have to pay for if you want a specific form that you want to use. Yeah, Sang.
Hey, Dylan, can you go to the 4-point form?
Hmm.
I just got a quick question for you. Open up that form, please.
Might take a second for it to
Yeah.
populate here.
I'm wondering because I built that data field and tried to fill that blank checkbox and I wasn't able to do it. So that first section right there, the minimum photo requirements, John Shishila doesn't use that section, so he deleted it. But some of the agents I'm dealing with, they're asking me to check that box. So I've been checking all those boxes,
Hmm.
but your template doesn't have that form built up to check those boxes. So I built the data field and then I try to put that checkbox in there. I wasn't able to do that. So is there any special thing that I should do or does Steve has to do it? I don't know.
I don't know. You gotta ask Steve, I'm afraid. I don't really know. I don't know the answer to that, Sang. Yeah.
Okay,
Sorry. Yeah,
no
yeah.
problem.
I mean, it's hard. We built that form and I don't know, it's one of the risks of all these forms is we could start spending a lot of time like
Right.
if everybody wants it slightly changed, it's like this sort of Pandora's box of like changing the form millions of times. But so I don't know. But if you ask Steve about it, he knows more than I do. But I see what you mean that that box is not in here so I don't know why he didn't make that one. So that's interesting. Maybe he just needs to make it. But it's one tricky thing that is hard about the PDFs is that in Scribeware, regular Scribeware, if you have a data field and you don't want to use it, it won't print in the report. Whereas all this form filling stuff, like that functionality is gone. Like whatever PDF you're making, like that's how that PDF will look. You can fill it out, but if you like leave a field blank, like it's still going to be in the form, like Sang was pointing out. So it's just one of the trickier things about dealing with PDFs versus the way Scribeware works more natively, if that makes sense.
Dylan, can you rewind a little bit and speak towards creating that those data fields for the MPMA?
You mean like how you do it?
Yeah.
I really don't know, honestly.
Okay.
Like, I think Steve has a video on it. Let me ask him, and if not, I'll try to have him make one that we put up on our YouTube channel. But I know he's given it to somebody, and we've actually got one person that built one themselves and got pretty close. Like, and I think my guess is that if you want to customize the PDF, you might be able to get most of it done yourself, and then it might meet with like a certain few hurdles that like Steve or Tim or somebody might need to help you with to get over the hump. But
Okay. Thank
yeah,
you.
yeah, yeah, and we are. I know you're dying for that, and I think we've got somebody working on PDFs. I just haven't checked in recently. I don't know where we're at with that.
Thanks.
Yeah, Donnie.
Hey, we done the Adobe thing like I was talking about
Hmm.
and created a fillable form on ours. And in Tennessee, we have to do a graph, and we added that and added the invoice all in one document and do it through the Adobe, and then we just attach it.
That's a nice way to do that. Well, then you can get that drawing handled, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's good. Yeah, that Adobe subscription pays for itself there. That's good. Cool. Yeah, maybe what we should do, I'll talk to Steve. I mean, it might be nice to do a meeting around PDFs where Steve could explain some of this stuff more. I'm sorry, I just don't use it, so it's like just a little out of my wheelhouse. I understand more or less how it works, but um, cool, guys. Anybody else should we jump into a topic other than PDFs for a little bit? Anybody have any other questions or things they've been trying to accomplish?
Dylan, this is Anthony. I just started using y'all's software, and in my area here in Eastern North Carolina, um, there's a lot of manufactured homes being bought right now,
Yep.
Is there, and I don't know, again, I'm brand new. Is there a talks or did I miss it? Is there going to be a template for manufactured homes? It's kind of scaled down a little bit and kind of in compliance with HUD.
What a great question. Yeah, so and I'll let everybody answer this because everybody might do it differently, but I'll just start. So I don't do tons of manufactured, but I've just built the manufactured stuff right into my regular template. And everyone's got different points of views on this, but I really, really like not having lots of different templates. The more templates you have, it's like having a heating system in your house that requires servicing annually, like, and every new piece of equipment you have in your house, it's another thing that'll break. So to me, if I can have one template to do everything, that's going to be much friendlier for my life as far as maintaining stuff. But even in my template, I don't have a ton of things on manufactured, but as I learn various things about, Charlie Buell likes to call them pretend homes. But I don't know. I probably have a comment under my foundation. So here, manufactured home, Washington State. So this would, and I explained that like where I am, L&I kind of labor and industries is who really governs all this stuff. And I have links for some information. So I would encourage you to maybe just build local manufactured home knowledge into your regular template. And you could see how I just recalled this. I have it in my foundation section and I just started typing in manufactured and it just popped right up. So I don't know. I don't really, anybody see the need to have a separate manufactured home template? I just feel like it's way easier to, and you could also, another cool thing you can do in Scribeware is have different boilerplate. So right now I'm in my template. I by default, I serve up my home inspection boilerplate, but I could click on this and it's actually, I don't do it, but I could have a different boilerplate for manufactured homes that explains, hey, these are, HUD code things, not the IRC or whatever you want. You could set the stage there. So it might be smart to build like a manufactured home boilerplate, and then you could kind of hide a bunch of manufactured home comments in your template that then just use your regular home inspection template. Everybody else like that idea? Do something similar, maybe?
Yeah, this is Martin in San Diego. The only time I would like to use a separate template is just if it were to expedite that particular type of inspection, like an HOA inspection where you don't have to do exterior stuff, just to have it all pre-filled out so I can just like zip through things and double check everything. It's not that we don't look for HOA items. It's not like we don't look at it, but
Hmm.
most of it you can just zip right through it and just take a couple pictures. Um,
Can I show you guys how I do an interior only condo, like with my
yeah,
regular template? So
sure.
I'll start my narrative style template. And so I'm loading a brand new job here. And of course, this will be for a regular home inspection, right? So it's going to have all that home inspection stuff ready to roll. So in my boilerplate, I do have a boilerplate for condo interior. So here it is, condo interior. And that just basically says at the request of my client, they only want to look at the inside, even though I recommend they do the whole building, right? So I'm kind of pushing that
Okay.
out. So, okay, so now what do I need to do? Well, there's no grounds, so we'll go to the grounds and I'll turn that green. And let me explain what happens when you turn something green. uh, the required fields go away. So I love my required fields. I use them on absolutely every job. So I have 196 items. Every time I start a new job, I'm going to look for 196 different things. Clearance to grade, downspout discharge, all that stuff. So I don't want to lose my ability to use these, but so I just want to turn them green and then they go away. So now I have 184 items. And the overriding logic of Scribeware is if you don't put data into a field like a chapter or a section, we call grounds a chapter, we call these, address identification a section, then it won't print in the report. So by turning it green, I've kind of managed my flags, and by leaving it blank, it won't be in the report. So I'll
Mm.
turn this green. I'm going to leave decks because sometimes there's a deck on a condo. I'm not going to look at the garage. I'm not going to look at the roof and the chimney. I'm probably not going to look at the fuel storage and stuff. So now we get to electric. So that's all like condo stuff. I'm not going in the attic, so we'll turn that green. I'm not going in the crawl space. I'll turn that green. not doing the structure. And then my WDO one, I have to fill out with these three boxes. But so I don't know if I weren't chatting and stuff, I bet you that took me less than a minute to turn my regular template into a condo interior only template.
Yeah, that's cool. I didn't know about that. That's great. Thanks.
Yeah, I thought this would be really helpful. Like it's and I wanted to show this partly because, this also touches on like manufactured homes and all these things. And I just think build it all into one template if you can. Because then like let's say I wanted to update my water heaters and I like came up with the greatest comment ever or something, and I'm like, my water heater is better. If I have all these different templates, I got to go fix that stuff in different templates. Whereas if you can maintain one template when you update it in one place, you update it everywhere. So I use one template for residential, commercial, multifamily, interior condos, full condos, and consultations. So I don't know, everything. I just use one template.
Hey, Dylan, I would also suggest that just like your checkout procedure,
Yep.
somebody could make a little chapter to make sure they covered things for manufactured homes that, the little specific things that you want to do differently as a little checkout.
Well, that's a great idea. Love that, Joe. Yeah, that's really smart. I don't use this as much as I used to, but particularly if you're new, this is good. But I had a little checkout list. It's like, hey, and you could set these as required fields, right? I turned them off. I used to do that.
Wow, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, not a bad idea, especially like the oven.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know about you guys, but every once in a while I'm
Oh
like,
yeah.
oh God, I turned the oven
We
off.
used to laminate it, give it to all our inspectors, and now I love having it in here. It's great.
That's
Make it required.
Oh, the other big
great
one,
feedback, Joe. I love that. That's
the
awesome.
other big one is the tripped GFCI that's connected to the refrigerator with all the meats in it.
Yeah, that's a
Oh,
scary one, isn't it? Yeah, I know. Yeah, Donnie, go ahead,
We've
man.
got that set up on a one line item and just take the pictures as you go.
Say that again, Donnie.
We've got our checkout set up on a one line item.
Okay.
And that way you just go, when you're getting ready to leave, you just pop the picture of the oven, pop the picture of the back door lock, pop the picture of the lock box, and pop the picture of the thermostat, and they're done.
Yep.
We really don't even comment on it. We just pop the picture.
nice.
It's interesting you say that, Donnie, because I stopped needing this primarily because when I long time ago started doing infrared for everything, just taking pictures and documenting it. And I'll take that picture, an infrared picture of the oven, and then I shut the oven off. And so like it's kind of it's built into my muscle memory now where I don't forget. I remember in my early on, I used to leave my car keys on the oven, so I couldn't leave the house. But anyway.
Some pictures won't tell you what's happening though. That's
Well,
like
that's true.
But
Yeah.
that makes my inspector show me he done it.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, no, these checkout lists can be powerful. And if you, let me show you how you set required fields, guys. This is a good thing to go over here. So if I wanted to set these as required fields, I would edit the section, right? The three dots up here, turn it green. We use the pen to go back into one of these guys, and we can call this a required field. And then just hit save, and now that turns it red. So if you want
I got an unrelated question, but a good place to put it. I like Donnie's idea about the picture. How do you grab that little camera icon and pop that in there?
Yeah, so let's make a little picture thing here. So let's go ahead and well, first is so you can't attach a picture to a data field. You need to attach a picture to, something like an observation box. So let's use a little descriptor one. We'll call this a description, and I'll just call this oven photo. So, and the whole purpose of this comment is really just to hold my picture. It's the only reason it exists. So now I'll delete it, and then let's edit this and build a little thing to hold it. So we'll hit the pen. In order to get the camera emoji, if you're on Apple, then God help you. No, I don't know how to do these on Apple, but on a PC, you hit the window button and the period key, and there's all these little emojis. So here's my one with the little camera on there. So now I want to connect something to that emoji. I want to connect that little comment. So I'm going to use suggested observations down here. So we'll do suggested observations, the camera, and then I'm going to hit next. And then here's my little oven photo thing. So got that connected. We'll hit save, save again. And now you can just go click, and you get your picture and snap a picture of it.
How is the oven photo comment already there?
How is the oven comma photo?
Well, he saved it. He wrote it and saved it.
He just
He
did it.
wrote it and saved it, but when you pulled it in, it automatically popped up. When you were
Well,
futzing around
that's
with
a
the
good point,
library.
Alex. So let me show you again. The reason it automatically popped up is there was nothing else in this library. So Alex was wondering about when I hit next here, he's like, that automatically popped up. If I were in a section with a ton of comments, I might need to use the keyword search to retrieve that. But here,
Got it.
because we're just fooling around in this checkout section, I didn't have anything else in the library. So it was just, this is the only game in town.
Got it.
That makes sense, everybody? Like, and this search term, I mean, you could search like GFCI or something, and it's not going to find anything because I don't have it here. But the whole point of this search would be you could search through 500 comments if you want to try to find something you want to link. So, is that helpful?
What was the keystroke again? I missed it when you were saying it.
It was Windows period key.
Thank you.
And then you can search emojis,
Yeah,
so you could like we could look
I'll
for
tell you what else. If it's already in the template, you can copy and paste it too.
you
I've done that
can.
here, but-
That's actually a really easy way to do it. Hey, good to see you guys. Yeah, that's so. See how
You just got home.
when it's in here, just grab edit and just hit that to copy it, and then you can paste it wherever you want. So you could, yeah, and the emojis are fun. I mean, I don't go too crazy with them, but
One thing that's problematic with using just an emoji is it doesn't show as blue, but you do know it's connected to something because it's a picture of, you know. You know what I'm saying, Dylan?
I don't.
Well, if you put a period in front of that camera, you'd see that period would be blue.
Yeah, the period. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Anyway, hopefully that helps you guys. The
I
other
write
thing.
the word general photos in front of them.
Yeah,
Okay, so you
exactly.
connect a whole word basically. Yeah, that's a good idea. Then you get, so we could do that. We'll edit this and
It's a little redundant then, but it's, it's whatever. Just given the information.
so notice how when I change this field, now nothing's connected anymore.
Right.
And that is important. These work off of a keyword. So let's reconnect it. We'll edit the thing. We'll go suggested observations. We'll hit that next. And then again, to Alex's point, this could be a huge library, but I just have the one comment. So we'll hit save and save again. And this is a little more clear. Now it's blue and you kind of know that something's connected there.
Yeah, I like that.
Cool. Let's see. Another thing that I could show you guys that, God, I like it so much. I've been really doing this to more and more comments. There was one I wanted to show you guys, and I can't remember what it was now, but just these little gunnies at the end of comments. So whenever a lot of jobs now, I just use one electrical comment. That's not true. I actually use a bunch of different electrical comments, but all the weird little stuff with electrical, like loose receptacles, damaged receptacles, painted receptacles, open junction boxes, wiring subject to physical damage, like I don't know. I don't need like vast explanations for those. It's wiring cleanup stuff, right? And I'll just take a picture and caption it. And then I use my photo captions to bullets, right? So wiring repairs needed, a number of repairs are needed. And I can massage this today, overall numerous if it's really bad, or if it's not so bad, I can just change it to a few electrical repairs and I'll move it from a major concern to a repair item. But this little thing down here, with the pen, I can click on that and I can massage this comment even more. Whenever this many items are noted with the wiring system, it's possible that additional repairs could be needed that are latent or concealed. Please note that other comments in this electrical chapter, right? So it's like there'll be other things here. The extent and type of repair items noted during inspection suggests there will be additional concealed work here. Right. So I don't know. You guys know what I mean? Like how you that you find one thing and it's like instead of having all these different comments, I can kind of massage my one comment. I just find it so much faster, easier to manage the library, and I don't have to, I think it makes the report more concise. Do you want me to show you a job like where I did this? Would that
Please.
help? Cool. I mean, I just did it today. I'm trying to think of when I did it on electrical. I know I just did it very recently. I have to look into a couple reports here. Let's
Another
see.
thing to consider when you make those lists, you can maybe do a little keyword, couple of keywords and make them bold so that you're not having to read the whole line. That can be helpful too.
So let's look at this finish report I did. So we'll go to the complete report and we'll go to electrical finish. So here is, we could look at this whole wiring section, right? So we've got electric distribution and finish. And I just took these pictures and captioned them as I went. There was a bunch of cleanup work in the garage. And so I didn't write a thing here. I hit wiring repairs needed, a number of repairs needed wiring system, especially in the garage. I think I added that. Examples of observations no during inspection include running splices. Oh, I got it. I got my S got messed up. Yes, we got to watch that with voice to text. Running splices noted in the garage wiring and open junction box noted in the garage ceiling. Service run NM cables, physical damage, extension cords, open running splices. But I just did all that voice to text and dropped all those pictures in and hit my little photo captions to bullets button. So let me show you on the back end how I did that. Let's go to that comment. And here is that one comment, photo captions to bullets. We'll delete all this because we don't need this. And let me go in and clean this up. It's not running places, it's running splices. So we'll clean that up. Running splices noted in the garage wiring. We'll give it a little ellipse just to clean it up even more. Cool. So we'll save that. So I've got my parent comment, I call this, and then I've got my 5 caption pictures, and I use this button up here with everybody commit this to memory. You can tattoo this on your forearm, the little button with the mountains on top, and you hit that, and that makes your list for you.
You still need to name that button.
All right, let's come. We should submit your names for the button. I agree. Like, I was working on magic captions was kind of an idea, but I don't know. It's funny. I mean, I was been talking to some new scribers, and like we've had to invent a lot of words in Scribeware because we're innovating. We're like coming up with new ways to do things, which means you got to name it.
The hallelujah button.
Yeah. So anyway, I can't tell you how much I love this technique, you guys. I use it on every single job, not everywhere. I mean, to me, I use it in what I'm trying to handle is multiple defects with the same system. And I'm trying to avoid in every part of my report having the like 10 different repair items. And it really condenses things. A good example of how I'm careful with this would be on new construction, for example. Let's say, you're doing fiber cement siding on a new build. And where I am, I know without getting out of the car that I'm going to find things that are wrong that the builder won't fix. So if the porch concrete is too close to the fiber cement siding, they're not going to fix it. If the gutter is in contact with the fiber cement siding without the 1 inch clearance, they're not going to fix it. So I write all the things I know they won't fix as separate comments. But then if there's a whole bunch of things that I do think they should fix and they will fix, I'll kind of use this technique under siding. Does that make sense? How like I don't always just drop everything into one big comment. I try to think about like what is likely to get fixed and what might not get fixed. Cool. I hope that's helpful.
And I've worked that into my reports more, and the realtors really like it. That like they can call an electrician, and these are the 6 items that need to be fixed, or this many windows. They love it.
Awesome, Jim. Great. I'm so glad. I think the agents really like it. I mean, this part of this technique came many years ago when an agent was like, you had 100 repair items or something, and I kind of puffed up like I was doing my job. And I went back and read my report and I'm like, this doesn't read very well. Like there's so many repetitive repair items. Hire a
Right.
licensed electrician, hire a licensed electrician. And it's like, come on, there's got to be a better way to do it. And so then I flirted with writing these paragraphs, which was awful because you can't get to the information and they're hard to write. And so then I was like, bullets, bullets are the way to go. And so then now that we have this button, it's like, man, you can really fly with these. And so this is a great example of, to me, just a complete win. Like the agents like it better, the clients can read it better, and it's faster. It's like, and the
Yes.
report reads better. It's just like a win in every direction, And those are the kind of wins we're trying to shoot for with Scribeware, where it's like, yeah, it's higher quality and faster. It's like love that. So we could look at, I probably use this technique in other places here. I used it rot repairs, even though there was only one. There was one little place of rot here, but I still used a parent comment and just
Mhm.
noted that. The deck, I'm sure I used it. The deck was a piece of junk here. And again, as soon as I took one look at this deck and I was like, I know the comment I'm going to use, which is deck repair or replacement needed. And I just went and took pictures of everything I saw. One thing that is important to note is that the keywords work really well in for photo captions. So I'm going to just fiddle with this real quick. If I type in the word baluster or the beginning of it, granted, I'm in my deck section here, right? And I'm captioning a picture in my deck section. I just typed in BAL. Deck guards are now required to have posts every 6 feet and can no longer be all balusters. So I knew I had that photo caption there. And so I literally typed 3 letters and then clicked that. And that was how I got that baluster comment in there. So let me show you how you do. This is really cool. So if you want to add photo captions to a library, let's go under View Library. I'm in my deck section. We're going to View Library. So see up here in the library, it says Show All. So this is like everything in my decks, porches, and balconies section. So if I hit show only media captions, now we're just getting these little one sentence things, right? And then if you want to add more, hit the little plus mark here, and we could, this is already checked. This is a media caption. So I don't know what would be a good, I already have most of my deck ones. We could go someplace else, but here we'll go to, I've got tons on roof. Let's go to electrical. There's always more I could add in electrical, I bet. So let's go View Library, Show Media Captions Only, and hit the plus mark. How about abandoned wiring? So add as a new library entry, and we can go back in here. We could just experiment to see if it works. And abandoned wiring, this should be properly terminated. There it is.
I need to learn more about this.
Yeah, it's really great because then you literally, when you want to caption pictures, you only need 3 letters, ABA, and boom, there it is. So I use a lot of talk to text for my captions, but I do use these, and this all works on mobile. It's phenomenal. So
I haven't been able to make it work
really?
on my phone. Yeah.
Here, let me log in. I'm logged in, so let me make myself a co-host and I'll show you.
Does the search work if you start talking, or do you have to start typing?
No, you can talk it. Yeah. So I'm gonna make myself a co-host. Share screen. All right. You guys see my screen now?
Yes.
Let's go home. I'm just going to start a clean report here so I don't mess something up. So I hit the blue plus mark. So now I've got all my templates available to me, and I'm just going to use my narrative style because that's the one I know best, and it's where I know where my photo captions will be living. So let me show you how I might do a deck. Like, I'll just take pictures of my mouse and stuff here, but all right. So let's see. We'll go to decks, wood decks. So I'll just explain sort of how my decks work, but that blue present button gets me a link to the DCA 6. We could say it was ground contact treated, maybe a non-standard ledger, non-standard guard, softwood decking, and that gives me a little comment about maintaining softwood decking. Post beams and footings inspected and tune up. And then this is most of my comments are right here. Deck repair comments, tune up repairs needed, old deck repair, replace, old deck rebuilding. I don't really use my gunny sack much. New deck looks professional, new deck repairs needed. So, I mean, this is a cool concept to just think about, but those are 5 deck comments, and you would be hard pressed to find a deck that doesn't fit into one of those categories.
Mhm.
Can I get
True.
an amen and a hallelujah on that, right?
Yeah.
You see what I mean? It's like you cannot find a deck that won't fit into one of those. So that's kind of cool. I only really use 5 deck comments for the most part. So let's do this old deck repair replace. Now, I saw someone quickly say that when they long press, it doesn't open. This should, if I long press on this, it should open the comment for me. So boom, I just held that and it automatically popped the comment open. So if you're struggling with that, let us know, but it works for me. But seriously, if you have issues like you think something should work, use the submit feedback. I cannot tell you how much time and money we've spent on the mobile app trying to make it work on every single device, but they all work differently. There can be like, and if you don't, we're the proud owners of like 10 different mobile devices, and it's still like a small fraction of what everybody could be using. And so anyway, we put a huge amount of work into it. But if you hit this little exclamation point button at the bottom left there, you can send us a message. The best is if you have a problem, try to replicate the problem and then quickly hit that submit feedback, because it sends the guys logs and like a short little video of like the last 4 seconds or something, or 5 seconds of what you were doing. So it could help them diagnose what's going on. So anyway,
So
go ahead.
does it help? Because I usually send it as a screen record too. Does
If
that
you,
help
oh
or no?
yeah, if you send videos, that's phenomenal. And we've actually been talking as a group, as Steve and I have, about trying to integrate Loom as like in our support, because the videos are so helpful. If you guys have questions and you shoot us a screenshot video, it's so helpful. Like I can instantly see what's going on. Whereas like some of the text, I mean, I get it's nobody's fault, but like I get these insanely complicated messages that I'm like, what's he talking about? So the tool that I like to use is Loom, Loom, and it's a screenshot recording tool. And I think it's free if you're just doing like a certain
Free up
number.
to 1 minute.
Is that right? Yeah. So, and you can often do these in like 10 seconds. So, yeah,
And
Loom.
it's built into your Samsungs. That's what I
Uh,
use.
is that
It's
right?
built in
Okay.
screen record. Screen record is in there.
Well,
Yeah.
there's a screen record. The problem, the one built in the Samsung, is that I think the Loom, the thing that's gold about it is it produces it uploads it to the cloud and you can send the link. Whereas if you
Okay.
use what's recording on your phone, it can be too big a file to send conveniently.
Okay.
So I think that's the thing that's so great about Loom. I can show you guys Loom in a second. So now going back, old deck, repair, replace. So I'm going to oops, hit the wrong one. I'm going to, we'll delete that one. Old deck repair replace, a long hold, and I'm in it. So now I've got, with the comment open, I can do 3 things. I can take a picture and I can add that to the comment, right? So we got this my keyboard there. I can open up my gallery. I don't have a picture, but if I did, I could open up my gallery. Let me get a picture real quick. We'll get out of this comment. I'll take a picture of like my hand or something here. So because I'm not in a comment, when I took a picture of my hand, it has nowhere to go. So it just goes into our gallery, right? So now let's go back into this comment. So I took a picture, added it from the keyboard. I can click on the gallery and I can add a picture, or I can swipe up and, oh, it looks like I need to give it permission. Must have had to. I'll have to mess with this later. I forgot I downloaded a new version of the app recently, so maybe this will do it. Camera, allow every time. Microphone, photos and videos. Ah, there, I bet that's it. That did it. So this is kind of cool. I can take pictures. I can grab some pictures from a job today and dump those pictures. And I took these pictures from my native camera. So now those are in the report. Did everybody see how that worked? You guys, can I get some amens and hallelujahs on that
Yeah.
one? You guys with me? These are kind of cool pictures. This is an HVAC guy was testing the heat pump today. Have you guys, apparently they've been out forever, but they have these cool ways that they can test the refrigerant. They just put these little things on the refrigerant line, and then he had it all hooked up to a computer, and he would run it through the defrost cycle and the different cycles, and he could check the pressures on the.
Oh, instead of a manifold thing?
Yeah,
Okay.
instead of the old, like, I think it shows, I guess I'm old, but like when I first learned about heat pumps, guys showed me how they were doing it on these old gauges and stuff. And
Mhm.
he's like, oh, this has been around forever.
I've got one of those.
Yeah, yeah. So anyway, I thought that was cool. So everybody with me so far, I basically I added pictures. I took a picture, or I went to the gallery, or I went to my phone's gallery. So I've got all these pictures in here. So now often I'll just take pictures and then caption them after the fact, like I'm about to show you. I don't think I can use voice to text while I am zooming. For whatever reason, it just doesn't seem to work. And it might be because I
It
have to
doesn't.
I have to disable my mic on my phone, or else we would get this echo when I'm zooming, So that might be part of it. But anyway, let's do David was having trouble with this.
Yeah, how do you get to the keyboard?
So so I just click on a picture. So that opens it up, and then you just put your cursor up in that little gray box and your keyboard should pop up, right? And
Okay.
then I can hit that to do talks to text normally if I'm not zooming. Like, so how I normally roll would be I would hit that. But you could also I'll type in the word bolt, and then I'll hit the little magnifying glass here, and that will start sifting through my library. So the deck ledger has not been bolted to the building. Now this is super cool. You can just swipe to the next picture. So now I could type in loose, or start typing in, and the guardrail system is loose, right? So now I could go to the next one. I'll type in the word flash and hit that. The deck ledger board has been run over the decking, or the deck ledger board flashing has been run over the decking. The deck flashing at the ledger has been run over the decking. It's got water. Inadequate
There
flashings
you go.
between
Take
deck
your
and
scissors.
siding. So you can
Look here. See
localized.
right there? Mhm.
Hit the little
Go
microphone,
back in there.
localized wood decay in some of the decking. You guys see how I'm rolling here? I mean, you just, I'll type in the word post, hit the little thing, eliminate post to soil contact. So done. So I just went through, captioned all those with pre-made photo captions. I put my cursor here, and then I scroll over and I hit the unnamed button, the magic button, and build my list. You guys
I
like
never knew
this?
about that swipe between pictures. That's great.
Oh, it's just
Oh,
so
that thing's
freaking
great.
fast. And
Yes.
if you're in a hurry on site, you understand what I've done here. I only have 5 deck comments. So even if you're in a total hurry, you could just choose one of those comments, put all your pictures, put them all in here, and then flag it. And you could, like, when you go back home or later when someone's not breathing down your neck, you can just caption pictures. But you now have a workflow where all you're doing is captioning pictures.
Unrelated question, Dylan. To share your phone, do you just log in as another person on the Zoom, or do you have a special way to share it?
Oh, how I get my phone onto Zoom?
Yeah.
So I got the Zoom app on my phone, and then I just log into the meeting.
Okay, that's what I've been doing.
Okay.
Thanks.
Yep. Cool. Everybody like this? You guys with me on photo captions and stuff? You kind of see what I'm doing? Great. Awesome. This is just gold, man. I hope you guys run with this because I don't know. This
It
really
saved
is.
me 15 to 20 minutes on every inspection.
I love it, Jim. That's what I want to hear, man. I mean, and I mean, the cool thing about it is like, and the report's better. You know,
Yeah.
it's like that's freaking awesome. Like you get a lot of in the industry get like I only do them on site, and then I'm like, well, send me your report, and I read it, and it's like, oh, it looks like you did it on site, and I'm totally cool with doing it on site, but I want it to look enough like 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 it didn't happen on site, and that's the goal is that you can do them on site, but they look like you were writing them all. And I think with some of these techniques, you can do that. It's really I'm amazed how much of the report I get done as I go. Saying, yeah, you got a question, man?
So commenting or captioning the photos, does it have to be tied to the one of the comments?
No,
Or
that's a good question. It doesn't. So right now I'm not inside of a comment. So let's go ahead and snap a picture of my mouse. And then you see how it built a little postage stamp right to the left here? Of that picture, I can click on that and that opens the picture and now I could go caption it. And now when you're not inside of a section, your photo captions library will be less valuable. We can try it. I think it still works, but it's more likely to be doing, I chose the word bolt, which is probably only in my deck section. But when you're not inside of a comment, it's sifting through, it's doing a global keyword search for that photo caption. Does that make sense? But you do not need to be inside of a comment. And you can also do this from your gallery. Let me just take a couple different pictures here. And we'll get them into the gallery and then we'll click out of this, open this guy. So you can open them up from here and you just, if you long press, so one press opens up the buttons, but if you long press, that'll open up these and you can just scroll from one to another here as well. So you can do the same thing.
Hmm.
Yeah, so I don't know, I was missing GFI protection in the kitchen. That's kind of cool. You could go. So one thing that could be coming here, I don't know if Casey made it today, but he has been wanting some work that we're going to be doing on location tags that we're gonna. I don't want to get too deep into this because it's work that doesn't exist yet. But anyway, we're going to be working on some different what we're calling observation tags that I think will actually be incredibly useful. Oh, I know what I'd like to show you guys though. We should go over tags. You guys want to go over photo tags?
Yes.
Yeah, so photo tags, this is particularly valuable if you're working in a team. But the other day I did the same house twice. So I took the original report. Donnie was just asking me about this. I opened up my original report and I copied it and I updated it to today's date. And then I went through and I cleaned out all the pictures and I didn't delete them, I hid them. And so now they're in my hidden section and you can do that all on mobile if you want. Well, you can't copy, so I did a bunch of this on desktop, but see how here you can hide media marked as hidden. If you uncheck that, that would show hidden media, right? So this is one of the filters in our photos and Scribeware. So anyway, I copied the report. I hid all of the pictures from my original inspection.
Where do you get to that at?
On the desktop or on mobile?
Either.
Yeah, let's go see if I can jump here. You guys see my desktop now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so let's go up here. So copy report, we could go ahead and build a copy of this one. And then, so now I'll rename this, right? So I'll just call this test copy. But, now I can mess with this job because this is also how you would build a sample report is just use the copy report feature and then get rid of the personal information. And, you could start deleting all the pictures from the report because you don't I don't know how you guys do it. I always feel like the words, I don't necessarily need to write a whole new report, but you're really supposed to go take all new pictures. So I'll go through. This does take a little time, but it's faster than rewriting a whole report. So I'll just go through, and then all these up here, if you're not using them, come through and highlight them, and just you can use hide media right here. Everybody see that? So
Yeah.
boom, now they're
Mhm.
gone, and I can go up to my filters, and I could uncheck that, and then they're there.
Cool.
Yeah. So
We
that's
was having
how.
that discussion today.
Cool. I mean, what's nice is when you're doing a reinspect, what you find is sometimes you're like, damn, I didn't get a picture of that. And you want it. So then you could go into your hidden pictures and go grab them again. They're not like gone or deleted, they're just hidden. So this is kind of how I'll go through and then redo it. And then I'll do one more. We'll just do this one just to finish the thought, and then it's a little time consuming. It would be cool if we had a button to like speed this up a little bit, but I don't know. It's not like it comes up all that much. And again, to me, it's still a lot faster than the alternative. So you get it. That's what I do on desktop. Let me reshare on mobile here.
Dylan, while
And
you're doing that, after this, can you, for my edification, can you touch on the boilerplate, the observation piece in the boilerplate, and how to add uh, the different modifiers in there?
yeah, yeah, that's a good question. Will you remind me if I forget? Yeah, but yeah. Okay, so uh the photo tags I wanted to say. So let's um yeah, this is still just a play report. So let's say you're working as a team and you want, Jim and Donnie are working together and you want to understand who's doing which photos. So I'm going to hit the camera button and the tag is right at the top here. So I could add a new tag and I could call this one Dylan and create tag, and then we'll hit save. And you see how it's yellow up there and it says with a 1. So I've got that set. I don't have to touch that again. Watch, I'll take a couple pictures here and that little yellow tag button stays on. So the entire job I could be taking pictures and I can now distinguish my pictures from somebody else's. So let's go into the gallery and let's use the orange pyramid that's upside down. That pyramid is our filters on the mobile. So let's see, where are the tags? Oh, here it is. I didn't give it a color. See how it says Dylan on there? The bottom left. You guys see that? It says Dylan. So if I hit that, that when I uncheck it, can you kind of see in the background how it's just changing the number
Hmm.
of pictures I have? So anyway, boom, now you're just seeing all the ones that are the one that I took. So if you're working as teams, this is such a phenomenal way to just sort your pictures of like who took what. Because otherwise what happens is they all get all jumbled together. And this way you can really distinguish who took which pictures. But you can use tags for other things too. If you wanted to, let's say you want to, let's clear that tag. So now that tag is gone. You could just use an electrical tag, right? And then save, and you can start tagging electrical things. Now, if you're using it like that, you do have to remember to clear it, or you'll start tagging everything with electrical. But now let's close out of this. We'll open up the gallery and we'll hit the tags so we could uncheck Dylan and check electric. And now we've just got the two electric tags. Everybody, everybody with me? Yep. Yeah, I mean, photo tags are super cool. If you're solo, you may not need it. The way I use it the most is, let's say I'm doing an inspection and I run across a really big thing that I want to talk to the client about when they get back. I'll go ahead and use my summary tag, and those are just like, that's why I set that one as the first tag. And then the client shows up and I open up my gallery and I go to my summary tag, and it looks like I had electrical check too. and boom, there's that picture that I tagged with summary. But it's such a nice way to review like a few summary items with the client where you don't have to go through everything.
Dylan, does that tag show up on the report photo itself or
It,
no?
it does not. It stays hidden in the report.
Okay.
And that's actually the observation tags that we're going to be building are designed to show in the report, which will be different functionality for these observation tags. But we'll talk about that on another meeting. So yeah, these observation tag or the photo tags, excuse me, are just for you to be able to organize your pictures. Notice how I have some for unit number 1, 2, 3, and 4. So you could use it for multifamily. I mean, when multifamily, you always want to loiter and hang out in those apartments as long as you can, right?
Yeah.
So, it can be really helpful to just set a tag and be like, click, 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 and then get the hell out of there and write your report later. And yet they're kind of all your photos are organized, right?
That's fantastic for large commercial too. Can tag multi-unit.
Isn't it? Yeah, for commercial,
Yeah.
it could be awesome with multiple units. You could just go ahead and set those tags before, So play around with the tags, give us feedback, let us know. But they're pretty phenomenal. They're really powerful tool for just getting your photos organized, and they can be used for lots of different things. Good stuff.
Hey, Dylan, is it going to be editable on desktop ever?
That is something we need to add. Let me show you guys this. It's one thing that we definitely need to do at some point is in a way, Charlie, it's becoming less critical, I think, because
Yeah.
they're, I don't know, the tags are a little more fluid than I first imagined, I think. But can you guys see my desktop now?
Yeah.
Yep, cool. Filters. Where are they on desktop? I can't even remember. Oh, I know what you need to do. You need to get a picture in here. So we will show the hidden. So this is where you fiddle with the tags on desktop. Is you see the add button here at the bottom left? And when you click that, you get your list of tags. So you could choose one or more. What Charlie's asking about is you can't resequence them. They're kind of stuck in this order.
I
So
don't
it
think
would
you can change the text either, can you?
No, you can't. They're not really. You could delete them, and then
Yeah.
rewrite them, but you can't resequence them or rename them. But
Yeah.
you could delete them and then just rewrite them if you wanted. So anyway, this little thing we would like to make that a little kind of cleaner for editing it. But I don't think you'll find that a huge limitation, but let us know. It's on our list of little tweaks, little polishing things. But
Dylan, are tags created by the individual user
yeah, but I
or
think they will be applicable to the account, but let me know. You know,
okay?
yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's hard. I'm by myself, so I don't know how that.
Understood.
Yeah, but that's a good question.
I mean,
Let us
they'd
know.
have to be if you're going to put different names in that makes sense. They'd have to be by the user.
Well, I think each user could do it, but I think they'll accumulate in your whole account. So you might periodically need to like clean them up if, they get kind of unruly.
I
So I
think I
could
think tags
create
are
some
company.
I could create some standard tags and then others could create their individual.
Tim, you were
I,
jumping in on this?
yeah, I think they're company wide right now. So if anybody in your team creates a tag, it shows up for everybody.
That's right. That
Thank
would be
you.
my assumption. Let us know if that becomes a pain point. I'm sort of hoping not. But
No, I don't foresee that.
cool. I think the biggest thing I would like is to be able to resequence them on at least on desktop because then you could make as many as you want, but you can have your greatest hits closer to the front, and then the ones you use less frequently. Right now on desktop you can't resequence them, and I think that's kind of a drag, but
You resequence them on mobile?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But to me, again, how what I want, poor Steve's having heart palpitations now, is I just want to put this into like an edit mode and be able to drag all my little icons around so I can get them in the order that I want. I think that would be a nice improvement. But we're
That's
open.
you, Connie.
What's that?
Well,
Sorry.
considering that's the only place you used to be able to edit them, I think it ought to be doable.
Yeah, yeah. Randy, I muted you. I wasn't sure if it was you. I think somebody was talking here. Let me unmute you. or you can unmute yourself if you want. So I didn't mean to cut you off. I couldn't tell where you're muted now, just so you know, Randy. Sorry about that. Cool. Um, so yeah, keep us posted, guys. We're open to feedback on these, but I think they're really a great tool, particularly for teams or I don't know, they're just great. I use them a bunch and they can come in extremely handy. So
So to get back to the order, they stay in the order that you put them in?
they stay in the order that they're created. So like if we
Okay.
open these, like I think that Dylan one will show up. Yeah, here's that Dylan
Nice.
one that I just added. But so they would just kind of and I don't think it, you can delete them. That's easy. I just wish you could move them around so that you could resequence them. That's all. And it's on the list. You know, but
Hey, Dylan.
yeah, shoot.
Hey, man, real quick, can you go back when you were doing the picture caption and you were pulling up a narrative when you typed in the word bolt, for example? Can you show that one more time, real quick?
Yeah, so I'm in my deck section and I click on the picture. You guys are looking at desktop, aren't you?
Yeah.
Cool. You can see a picture of a deck right now.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I can just start typing in bolt here on desktop, and that's searching through my photo caption library.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Hey, Dylan.
Yeah.
So, I recently moved over to Scriber, and those comments are not like they don't come with the template. Is that right? Do you have to do them yourself?
Well, it depends which template. We ship with the narrative template, which is the one I'm showing you because that's the one I use every day. And so all those photo captions are in the narrative template. The checkbox template, I don't probably have any photo captions in, I wouldn't think. And then if you imported a template, I don't know. They're really pretty darn fast to add, though. I'll just show you guys again real quick. Just go into View Library in a section. We'll go into this concrete decks, stoops, and landings in my template. I'll hit View Library. I'll hit Show Media Captions, and then I'll hit the plus mark. Concrete to siding contacts noted, right? And add as a new library entry. So, not a whole lot of work. It's actually really interesting. We've imported some templates from different systems that when I look at the library, to me that they look like photo captions. They're all like one sentence comments. And if you had a library like that, I actually think you could use the idea of parent comments and kind of group your one sentence comments. It's kind of like a degree of magnitude difference, if that makes sense. Rather than a whole comment, it's actually more like a photo caption. But depends.
Dylan, how come all the section titles are orange?
In my
Yeah, right there.
Let's see. I don't know.
You got sections that you don't have anything checked on, and yet they're still orange.
Well, yeah. I don't know. This might be because I think it's because we copied the original report. Remember how I made a copy of the report, and so I think it must have brought that over.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah. Well, and I did touch a lot of stuff, right? A lot of these things still show data in those fields too,
That could be it.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I think that makes sense.
Yep.
Cool, guys. We've been covering some good stuff. Everybody having fun?
Yeah.
So Dylan, I phased out for a second, but on the you can add the photo captions from the pictures too. Did you show how to do that?
Oh,
Like
that's a
saving
great
it from
call.
there? Because that's probably faster. Like once you've written something and you're like, oh, I want to use that again.
Yeah. So this is actually how we really first intended that photo captions would get written, is that you would write a caption like the shower head was leaking during testing. And then you just come up to the three dots over here and add the library. But that's a very sort of fluid way that you can, yeah, for Eddie, like if you don't have captions and you want them, just start captioning your pictures. You can't add them to the library on mobile though. So what you would want to do is flag the comment, and that might remind you to go add them on desktop.
Mhm.
And that would be something we can add to mobile at some point, would be saving library comments. I'm sure it's on our list somewhere. Yeah, good call, Tim. That's actually how I built most of my comment, my photo captions, is I just kept saving them.
And you go in and clean them up later or whatever. You just kind of review them and update them if needed. And
Yeah, yeah, that's right. And there
So you're
is,
thinking of
go ahead, Martin.
no, that was it.
guys, yeah, well, that was me. I overtalked him, I guess. Are you going to be able to upload those on mobile before long to add it?
Yeah, I don't know when that'll do. That it's on our list, but I don't know. I don't know when on
Okay,
our list.
not a big deal.
Yeah.
Just curious.
No, and it would really be nice to save library comments on mobile too, you know? So it's on there. I don't know. I don't know how high, but
I
you
think
No problem.
somebody had a question about making changes to observation modifiers.
oh, cool. Yeah, that was right. Yeah, thank you for bringing that back up.
I
Oh,
was
cool.
just waiting.
Yeah, awesome. There's all kinds of stuff happening in the chat. I haven't even looked at the chat. So if you guys see something good in there you want to go over, let me know. But let's go over what was the question again? It was like
So
something to,
on the boilerplate template, like down in the verbiage, it has a observation modifier, and like for like colors being used or whatever the verbiage is. But
Mhm.
how do you add in those modifiers, or is that just something you have to hard key in?
No, no. Let me show you. So it's a two-part question, kind of. So I think the first part of the question was adding your modifiers to your boilerplate. So we'll go under settings and we'll go under boilerplate. And then this is blank, so it's not going to help us. Let's go to where's my work? So this is my boilerplate, and then under observation labels, I've used this, and that is one of these placeholders of observation modifiers. So this is really pretty cool. This just means that it will then link my modifiers that I'm using and kind of put them in. So that's step one if you want to list all of your observation modifiers in your boilerplate.
It'll list the ones that you use in the report, not all of them.
Yeah, correct. Everybody with me so far? Do you guys know
Yeah.
any defectors, or we're all we're all good? Okay.
Yeah.
So then I'm under settings still. We'll go under observation modifiers. And to me, this is one of the greatest parts of Scribeware is that you can build your own list of modifiers, and you can build your own list of modifiers for every single template. So right now I'm in the narrative style template, and then these are all my modifiers. And just the other day I got bummed at my recommended disclosure color. So I kind of fiddled with it and got a different color. So if you click any one of these, you can click and open it, and you can change the singular name. It should be singular. The plural name. You can change the definition of like, well, what are you talking about by recommended disclosure? You can give a description even if there are no instances. Let me explain that. I'll go up to major concern. What I found as an inspector is if I had no major concerns and it didn't show up in the report, but I had 10 repairs, it could sound like a bad inspection because there were 10 repairs, because the repairs lost their relative importance because there were no major concerns. So we created a button that you could show major concerns even if there were no instances. So in my template, even if there are no major concerns, it will always say no major concerns were noted during this visual inspection. That language shows up. Everybody with me so far?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
But you can, if you don't like these, you can hide them. If you don't like the name, you can change it. If you don't like the definition, you can change it. If you don't like the icon, you can change it. Or you cannot use an icon. You can change the color. You can use no color. You can include it in the summary or not. So this is kind of how you build your summary. Your summary page auto generates based on which modifiers you're sending to the summary. You could choose to exclude it from both the summary and the report if you wanted to. So you could have something only go in the summary and not in the report. Show next to connected field value is really important. I could show you what that does, but I'll show you that in just a second. You can show even if no instances, that was that major concern. You can, if you want in your summary, you can have the media come with it. So personally, I don't like having my pictures go to the summary because I take a lot of pictures and put them in the report, and then my summary ends up being like 40 pages. So I like to not have my pictures. And even though my report's pretty long, my summary page with just words is usually like 4 or 5 pages. So I like the way it's nice and condensed personally. To each their own, we guys, I ever remember a band from the 90s, I think Digital Underground, right? And they had a song, Do What You Like. But anyway, that's sort of our unofficial motto at Scribeware. So this is big. You can choose to not include certain things in that request list builder that the agents use because I don't know, you don't necessarily want to bother them with like descriptive things, I mean, to me, these are like background information, so I do not include those in the request list.
Okay.
Hey,
So
Dylan.
yeah.
Jeff Ernst. I'm still pretty green here with your software, but kind of along the lines of the boilerplate question. I was looking at some of your training videos, and you did have where you could go in and choose multifamily for like an apartment.
Hmm.
You could choose the multifamily boilerplate. I didn't see where I had that option. Is
Well,
that
you
something
may
I
not,
have to build
you may
or
need to build that boilerplate,
okay.
and what I
Okay.
would do is just what you can do is start with go under boilerplate language, and you could start with like my Orca one or whatever one you have, and then just hit add new, and you can rename it and call it multifamily, and then just adjust it, and then so they're actually pretty easy. I mean, because you probably want most of what you have in your main boilerplate, and
Yeah.
then you can just kind of adjust it. One thing I'll share with you guys that you're welcome to steal. I have a consulting boilerplate that I really like. It's incredibly simple. Where the hell is it? Uh, Limited written consultation. This is a limited written consultation inspection report. The scope of this inspection and report is limited only to items in this report. It's like, it's not about anything else. It's only about what's in this report. And it's not a warranty or guarantee. And these are just my opinions. And it's not a complete home inspection. So I don't know.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like when you're just doing a review.
Yeah, sometimes someone wants me to look at a roof or drainage or something, and I love being able to just not need a template for that. And I've got all this cool language built into my regular template that I can use. So that's my consulting. Is that helpful, Jeff? Does that help you kind of see how you can kind of start, use an existing one and then just start modifying it for like commercial
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
multifamily?
absolutely. I just didn't know. I mean, if there was, something I was missing, but I had a feeling I was going to have to build that. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And
Thank
Dave Curtis on here, were you able to play with it and get those photo captions working on mobile for you?
No. Well, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I just I think there are a lot of the captions that were in there are not anymore.
Well, it could be you might check your template on desktop and kind of see who's home in the library there,
Yeah, I'm gonna have to do that.
Okay, cool.
I have a couple questions about those observations.
About the modifiers?
Yeah, so I was in there messing around the other day, just trying to only have the modifiers in there that we use in our report, which is just serviceable black, marginal blue, defective red, contractor review purple.
Love it.
And
Yep.
I got them in there. But I have these other black ones that are in there. Um, I must have created them somehow, but I can't get rid of them. They just keep
You
popping up.
should be able to just click on it and then do hide modifier, and that
Okay.
should get rid of them.
Hide modifier.
The other thing that is cool that you can see here is because I've been kind of messing with this a little bit. See how you get this big red apply to open report? If you're working on one and you're fiddling with these, you may need to hit this red button. Like if you're changing them and then you want to jump into the report and see what they look like, you might need to hit this apply to open report.
Oh, okay.
And we had to build that because by default, Scribeware will only, changes you make to your template don't affect past reports. Like once a report has been started, we don't work backwards for obvious reasons. We can't start like corrupting previously published reports. So,
Okay.
uh,
Okay. And then under company, where it lists your logo,
yep.
say you have two companies, one that does home inspections and one that does balcony inspections.
Love that. Yeah, yeah. So what you do there is,
Two different logos.
see up here, you can hit add new.
Let me look at what you got. Yes. Yes.
So I'm where you put the logos, you can hit add new. And right now I just have one, but I think you can add another company and toggle between them.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. Let me know if you get stuck on that, Martin, but
Yeah,
I'm pretty
thank
sure.
you.
Yeah. Yep.
Dylan, is that part normal feature now? Because I think that has to be added special. I think that's something Steve has to turn on. I don't
That
remember.
could very
At
well.
some point you had to charge more for that, but I don't remember I don't know if that's still the current thing or
Yeah,
not. But
that could be. I think it, and I think we have to charge more for it because I think that it might take some setup for Steve for that. But so that's where you do it, I believe. But if you want to do that, Martin, or anybody,
Yeah.
if you want two companies under the same account, we support that. I think it creates a little bit of a pain in the butt for Steve, is why he has to charge for it. But
Yeah, I
if
don't
you
see it available on my
okay,
screen.
so if you hit submit feedback and just, give Steve a message and say, "Hey, I want two accounts under the same thing,"
Okay. Okay. Great. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, great question.
Hey, Dylan, I have a question.
Yep.
I'm sorry I had to pop out of there because I just had to put out a couple fires. But and maybe this has already been asked, but I haven't been deep into Scribeware. I've had my guys, and especially Dave. So the question is, when you go to duplicate, like you have your regular residential home inspection, and if you only have one bathroom, and if you get there and there's three bathrooms, you just duplicate it, rename it. I get that. But in our commercial, we have a fourplex that we've built, but we went to one the other day and it was a fiveplex. And it doesn't seem like, without a lot of work on site, that you can't duplicate a chapter and have all the sections under it. Like duplicate, you have unit 1, 2, 3, and 4, and you want to make another one being unit 5, but have under that unit to have bathroom, electrical, plumbing, heating.
Oh, it's
Is
super
that
easy. So I built a chapter in my template that is a unit for multifamily. So I have
okay?
one chapter that's got everything that I should need to do a multifamily unit. And
Okay.
I drag that chapter up into my, right now, see how in my template I have extra chapters implement if needed, desired. So this is kind of like my little, Mason-Dixon line, and everything down here is stuff that I actually I either don't use or I use infrequently. So I'm actually in my template, so let me get out of that real quick, and I'll show you how I would set up a multifamily. You guys want to all see that? It could be helpful for everybody. That's a good question, Michael. So I will create from template, and I will hit narrative style, create report. Multifam. I'll just put that in the client name, and then I'm going to hit the pen up here. When you hit the pen in this chapter area, you can resequence and drag around all kinds of stuff. So I'm going to go down to my unit for multifamily and just drag it up.
So you're not going to the boilerplate and choosing another boilerplate that's a multifamily versus single family dwelling.
I think I might use my commercial boilerplate when but you could make a multifamily if you want. I think I just use commercial, but
Okay.
so now I've got this, right? And now I could come up here and I could call this like unit number 202, and then you just come up and you copy chapter, and you can do all this on mobile on site. So now I've got another chapter here, and I'll go to the top of it, and we'll call this unit 204. And yeah, just fill it out and then just copy chapter. And the copy chapter and copy section, but functionality is fully available on mobile.
Okay.
You guys want me to show you where
I hope Dave heard that.
Here, I'll show you where
Well,
that
the,
is.
the issue is that Dylan has everything, all of his electrical stuff is under one section, and we put chapters of stuff.
Well, I think so. What I did special, I had to build this special, but I built a chapter that houses every single thing in a unit. I even included washer, dryers, exterior
Exactly.
doors,
So
and
we're more granular. And so we have an electrical section and then or a chapter, and then we have a bunch of sections under it.
yeah, so that's how I do in my regular template, right? But I built this as a standalone chapter specifically for multifamily. I only use this for multifamily. And when I do multifamily, I can drag that chapter in. So my single family chapters then really become the common elements of the building. So, if there's a common garage or if there's, common decks or the whole envelope and the roof, and if there were like common electrical service stuff or electrical in the hallway, I would use all of that for the common elements. And like I wouldn't need the interior, and I don't need to delete this, by the way. One thing you can always do is just turn it green and hide it. And that way, if you need it again, you can uncheck it. But,
Hey, yeah. I was gonna say, David, I did a couple of times for a builder, and I did all four separate buildings. So I just created a whole separate report for each building, and
that would be another way to
Our
do it.
issue is like we have a 12 unit building.
yeah.
And so I had a fourplex. We had 4 units on each floor, so we just did 3 different reports.
So I think the trick, Dave,
But
how I would build a template for this is don't build a fourplex template, build a chapter that holds everything you need for a unit, and then you can copy that chapter as many times as you need to.
Okay.
Give us your feedback. We've actually, I mean, this is the stuff we work really hard in Scribeware to try to make this thing insanely stable and reliable, but we've been doing a lot of back-end database work. It has been hard on mobile devices when you get a 12-plex because, you're starting to have a freaking phone that has like 3,000 pictures in it, so like the device can bog down. We've actually been trying to do database work so that if you have really big reports, it still performs well. So give us your feedback. But if I were doing a 12-plex and taking a lot of pictures, it's possible I might divide that into 2 reports. I've done as much as an 8-plex all in one report, and my mobile app was doing okay, but it was definitely, you could tell it was starting to slow down a bit. But that was a year or two ago. I haven't done it in a while, and Steve's been doing some work to try to improve really, really big reports. So keep us posted and give us your feedback.
Well, the reason we're just doing more and more commercial. The biggest one we ever did was 18 buildings, and we entered 277 doors, and that's a lot to keep track of, and that's back when we were cameras and SD cards and.
Yep. Well,
Now
I
we're
mean,
just
that's where, photo tagging
streamlined.
could help, Michael. And then you might even want to build, I mean, that's a really good comment because like something like that, if you're going into that many doors, you might want to build 2 different types of chapters. One that's like multifamily, that's like, for where it's a little more detailed. But like if you're going into like 50 units, I mean, I think most people would agree, like at that point, you just can't paint with quite as sharp a point, so you might make a different chapter that you use that's like a little more of a broad brushstroke. Keep in mind, Michael, I mean, one technique I would consider for something like that is a template where all I do is take pictures and caption them. You could have a comment, then you could visualize a template where it's like electrical, and you could, hell, you could get rid of all these silly little boxes. You could just have a no modifier and say there's 125 amp square D electric panel located in the bedroom. You could just speak it in. And then you could have one comment: the following electrical repairs are needed in this unit, and take pictures and caption what you see. I'm just talking out loud, but like, you see
I like that idea because that's faster. Because
It
it's,
is.
I don't want to say it's all about speed because you don't want to miss something, but it is all about speed because the longer you take, the less profit you make.
Well, and beyond that, like if you do 50 units at the same detail that you do a single family house, there will be so much information in the report that by definition it will be nearly inaccessible. It's just too much. Like you can't handle it. Like nobody can read it. You know what I'm saying? Like so I've just found when I do really big projects, I have to paint with broader strokes, and so along those lines, you might build a chapter that's kind of like designed for no more than an eightplex, that's kind of like what I built. And then you might build another chapter that's kind of like just photo captions and bullets and really broad strokes and get rid of a lot of this because to me a lot of these like pull down things are really residential like stuff. They're not how you would do a commercial building so much.
Hey, Dylan, real quick. I'm looking at just underneath Unit 206 there and all of the different chapters or whatever that you have. I noticed you don't have bedrooms. Is that something you just decided to leave out for some reason, or?
I just do that under interior finishes.
Okay, okay.
So personally, this would be a good conversation, but I'm not a big fan of having a chapter for bedrooms and dining rooms and stuff. And that's just, it adds a lot of chapters to your report. And if we think logically, well, what are you going to find in there? There would be something wrong with the door, something wrong with the windows, something wrong with the electrical system, something wrong with the flooring. And I could put all those in either electrical or interior. So for me, like, bedrooms, dining rooms, family rooms. Like there's just not a lot of meat and potatoes for me.
It's just all interior. I like
I
how you
just put it
think.
all in the
Yeah,
interior.
that's
I
great.
think it's cleaner and easier for the client to read. But and I would argue that the reason we used to do that dates back to before we had computers and software to do inspection reports. That like it was all from when we did checkbox handwritten reports that we're still stuck on it. But I'm with the little Facebook meme where it's like, the argue with me, like, I'm open to discussion here, but that's my take on
Well,
it.
the only thing I would add is that there's no question that you were in those rooms if you report on them individually.
That's true. I
Right.
agree. Yeah. One way you could handle that if you wanted is just take a picture of each room and put it in
Yeah,
like an overall interior photos picture,
that's
like
right.
just
Yeah.
interior photos to kind of prove you were there. But I agree, Charlie. I mean, there,
That's what we do. We used to do living rooms, dens, bedrooms for a couple decades, but we just don't. Everything's interior, and if they want to know if we were in there, we have an overview picture at the beginning of interior that kind of shows where we were, and there's no modifiers, just showing, hey, this chapter is on interior, and here's all the rooms we went in,
yep.
and put it all there.
Yeah,
But
I think that's kind
we
of,
did away with that a long time ago.
yep. Yeah, that's cool, Michael. And it is interesting. I think they just cling on, but they're a way that made a lot of sense when we didn't have computers to do stuff. I mean, I'm old enough to remember that like, digital cameras were brand new things when I started inspecting, and it was a nightmare to try to get pictures and reports, it was hard. And so then you'd really like, what else would you had? You had to have a checkbox to kind of show that you went somewhere.
Yeah. Can I be the
I used to
devil's
take
advocate on this one?
Yeah, go for it, Donnie. We need a devil's advocate. Guys, I hope everyone
We've
knows, like
got a
I love all different ways of doing it. It's all open for discussion. So,
I've got a list of bedrooms, and we go in and pop a couple of pictures, click one button, basically says we were there. And then if there's something really weird, we can identify it in the bedroom. And it takes literally 15 seconds to do, but it really cleans the controversy up with the client. We've
hmm
discovered that.
hmm The other thing about doing it is that you spend less time needing to identify locations because the locations are sort
Right.
of pre-built into your template. So that there's pluses and minuses to everything. There's no, it's why we made Scribeware so customizable. You can do what you like.
Well, one thing about bedrooms too is that's a great place to talk about escape and rescue openings where,
Yep. Yeah. Yeah.
Smoke
That's right.
alarms and egress.
yeah.
Yeah. That's right. Great questions, guys. Anybody want to lob anything out from the chat? Am I missing things in the chat, or I haven't had time to read through it all, so.
So, Dylan, I'm not. I've been using the narrative template,
Yep.
and now that you guys are talking about overview photos, while I'm on the inspection side, I like to take pictures of overall, like let's say example, like someone just said about like interior. But it seems like when I try, like today when I was on the field and I went to exterior on the phone, I wasn't able to put my pictures like inside that. Like there's a checkbox, which I'm not
Yeah,
sure if
well, so
I need to.
you wouldn't be able to connect pictures to anything like I've highlighted. Any of this stuff, pictures will not attach to. So you have to put pictures into an observation of some kind. So
I see.
like if you just want to hold pictures, like we'll go to like my exterior and I have an exterior elevations section. And the cool thing about
Right.
every section is you can edit it and you can choose a default modifier. So for this, I have a no modifier. And so for here, then I can just, I mean, I'll just show you by dragging illustrations in, but you can just, you know, drop pictures in. So does that make sense, Eddie?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So you can't actually put any pictures for the exterior elevation. Is that correct?
Well, you can, you just, but it doesn't, it all happens from an observation box. So
I see.
you need some kind of an observation box, and that's where your pictures go, you know.
Got it. Okay.
So
Makes
what
sense.
you can't put a picture and connect it to like plastic up here. Like there's nothing in the software to hold it. So that's kind of why we have to do that the way we earlier in this call I demonstrated how like for the data tag, like I can't put a picture next to data tag. I have to connect a little observation box and then I can have it show there.
Okay.
And by the way, remember when we were in observation modifiers and I said I would show you show next to connected field value? That's what my description is, show next to connected field value. And so that's how I'm able to get this to connect right next to data plate. If I move this modifier to repair in my template, that goes all the way down here. So the only one I have show next to connected field value is this descriptive modifier.
So once again, how do you put that data plate once?
Yeah, I'll show it one more time, but you could say like picture here, or you can use that
Okay.
emoji tag. You can edit and then use the pen and edit the section and then suggested observations. And you sort of use these suggested observations. That's how you link stuff. See how this one already has a checkbox. So that's kind of how it says, hey, here, this is a picture of the blank. So then save and save again. And you can rewatch this video because we've gone over that one a few times.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
And
what?
Okay.
Yeah.
yeah, you can make any modifier show up next to connected field value if that's the way you want to do it.
Yeah. And that's how I think that's how if I were rebuilding my template, I might have everything show next to connected field value. It's a really powerful thing that we've added.
E-
I know Donnie
Every
Bentley's doing that, right?
every pull down I have has a section for a general photo.
Yeah. Which is really smart because now you just put that also creates these photo buckets. Like even if you needed to write a weird comment later, it's totally organized, right, Donnie? I mean, you could just you've
Absolutely.
got your picture right where you want it. You could flag it, and then you could come back and like make a new comment or do something if you needed to.
Yeah, if you just got something weird, it's already there. The placeholder's already there.
Yeah, it's a smart way to build a template. I I'll show you guys what I was doing with this. Because I'm actually going to try to build a new version of the narrative template, but that's kind of using this technique. I may never finish it. I'm so busy. Uh, but in all my spare time, this is like what I work on, right? Um, so like I was able to in my template I have grounds and decks as two different chapters and I was able to not only roll it into one chapter but I have way fewer sections because this is like my whole drainage and site is now like what used to be all these different sections is now one section and if you can say moderate slope and site slopes toward building and it just kind of expands clearance to grade standard, siding to soil contact noted, so guys see how, and on mobile, this is so much faster. Everything's really condensed, and you can use these little gunny sacks to kind of even put specific things in that you're finding. So I think this is a really fast way to build a template. Matthew Scott, I'm glad you're on here. I've been meaning to Zoom with you, but this was something I wanted to show you. I know you were interested in like speeding some things up, but show next to connected field values and trying to consolidate the template can really speed things up a lot. I mean, one reason I'm not doing it is I kind of like the looks of my report. So the way mine works, all of my repair stuff's at the bottom, and it kind of helps me separate like background information from repair information a little bit better. It might be one drawback of doing it this way. But if you're interested in speed, I don't think you could touch this for speed. This is really going to be fast, you know. Donnie can probably attest to this. Are you guys moving
Yeah,
pretty
I built
good?
my whole report's built that way. I'd be glad to show you sometime how I've done it.
It'd be cool, Donnie. Maybe we're kind of out of time today, but another meeting you
Yeah.
can kind of show us how yours works because it's definitely powerful, and you know you really start just condensing the whole report in a way that's pretty cool. Cool guys. Well, God, we hit like we're at like 2 hours. It's been a fun one. Anybody have any last minute stuff? I got a jet here pretty soon, so
Yeah. See, I've got to go myself.
yeah. See you, Donnie. But a great meetup, everybody. I appreciate everybody being here. Keep us in the loop how we can help. We're working hard on everything, guys. So
Yeah,
Thank you, Dylan. Always informative.
right on,
See
guys.
See you, everybody.
Have a great
Take
weekend,
care.
everybody. We'll talk soon.
Yeah.
Thank you.
See you guys.
Yeah.